Welcome to Surrounded by Sports, a place where life and sports intersect. We chase knowledge wherever we can find it. And today I have state champion Jade Brown. Congratulations, Coach.
Thank you, Kevin. Thank you.
Okay, so you just told me outside as you're walking in, I don't want to pry as to what you were told, but you had a, oh my gosh, we're champs moment on the way over. And
yeah, I did, and I'm overwhelmed with the community support for these young ladies has been. I mean, I really can't put into words. After the game, you're in the moment. I remember as soon as we walked out, I went over to my car and put my bags up and a couple other things, and you just get a lot of hugs and greeting and this and this. When we get back to the hotel, we're showering, we're about to go eat at Dave & Buster's. So it didn't really hit me in that moment,
right.
That we had won. But just not being on spring break, being able to reflect, and then just the outpour of support for these young ladies has been tremendous. So coming here, right. It finally hit me. Literally in the car, we're state champs. And I know, it's today's Wednesday, we won Friday. You're like, how did it take so long to hit? I think part of that is just being thankful, but also knowing kind of I got other things to do. Like I just told you, I had to put my phone on silent because I have coaches contacting now so we can get our schedule done for next season.
Yeah.
But it just, you're kind of steady moving. We win Friday, we get back on get back on the road Saturday, we go to church Sunday. Monday's here, kind of, my body's tired. I did sleep quite a bit.
Yeah.
But just, people don't understand how much a phone call has meant, or a certain text message, or an email. I've had some people reach out to me that I've never met before and have gotten in contact with me and just have spoke some very powerful things about our program. So it has hit me finally on the way here this morning that I coached a state championship team and we were able to bring it back this year.
Right, and okay, that's the thing too, right? Because of course, I'm sure one of the first things was relief. Right? Yeah. When the game's over, you're just really relieved and you're so happy for them. Yeah. But it's really big for you.
Yeah. It was, it was that, try not to get emotional.
Yeah.
But it was just, it was a great feeling. There was a moment I think myself, Coach Jordan and Coach Mookie were all kind of surrounding me, and I kind of just got to my knees and kind of crying for a second because there's a lot that goes into it, 14 years being a head coach, having some close regional finals, losing some close games, different things of that nature. But a lot of the adversities that you go through, there are moments I remember telling Coach Jordan, and every coach probably said this, am I really supposed to be doing this? Do I really want to keep doing this? And, and so those emotions got me then, when there were times where I wanted to give up myself, is this really worth it? Do I really want to continue to chase, to dominate in this sport and to get what we all want, which is championship? So in that moment, when that clock hit, I was really happy for us, and it was that moment of, wow, dang, it took a lot to get here, and it wasn't easy, but it was fun and worth it.
Right. Well, you kind of watching. You have to be good for a while. People don't usually win it the first time around, right? This to me, it felt like a couple of year journey. This team, how they evolve, and then we'll get into all that, folks. Yeah. We're gonna take a quick break. We're gonna talk about all that. We're gonna talk about the two games in particular. We're gonna talk about community sport. We're gonna talk about Jade Brown. We're gonna talk about all these players, all that and more after this.
You are watching Surrounded by Sports, a podcast hosted by Kevin Perkins. This show emphasizes how sports and life intersect while showcasing the Gulf Coast. And now, Surrounded by Sports.
Welcome back, folks. I'm here with state champion Jade Brown, Coach Brown. Like you said, when you said the thing about sometimes you don't know if you don't know, she's also an athletic director. Washington is very good at a lot of different sports. It's a good school. If you were to give up the reins as head basketball coach, it's not like you still wouldn't have a full-time kid.
No.
AD's a lot. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I was working on stuff Monday and Tuesday with AD stuff. So that's why I said I think I really didn't have it until like I said, on my way here kind of hits me because I actually went up to the school Monday to turn in some stuff.
Yeah.
I was up there just a few minutes today. So, the job never stops.
Right, 100%. I'm just so happy for you that you got this done because, okay, full disclosure, I'm talking to people about your club before the season starts. I've watched you practice, and then you start playing some games, and I'm noticing things, and I'm telling people, I honestly feel like, tell me if I'm wrong, she thinks this is my shot. You know what I mean? Like,
so I'll give you a little backstory.
Teams this good don't come back like that.
The last 3 years, I knew exactly where we would be.
Right.
I knew we would be playing for a state championship this year.
Right.
Shamaya's sophomore year, Mainland won it the year before, and we had gotten new classifications every 2 years or whatsoever, and so I knew Mainland had won it the year before, and so when our classifications dropped, I go to Coach Jordan's room, and Coach Williams, Devron Williams, who was coach with me at the time, I call him to my office, and I say, we're going to be in the regional final. We're going, I said, but what has to happen is, because I knew the ranking and stuff, I said, we got to have that number 1 seed in the region. We got to host at home. Because in that 2 years ago, Shamaya's sophomore year, when we played Mainland, the defending state champ, we were down in the first quarter. And you have to know your team. And I think a lot of times most coaches do. You have to be very realistic. And I sit down with the coaches at the beginning of the year, and we have realistic conversations, like about what we can accomplish. You know when you're going to have a challenging year. You know when you have some talent, and you know when you shouldn't overachieve or underachieve. Those are things that can irritate you. But I knew her sophomore year that I told Coach Williams and Coach Jordan, I was like, if we got to go to Mainland, we're not going to win. The only reason I said that is because we hadn't been in that situation.
Right.
We hadn't. In that year, we only lost 2 games, I believe, 2 or 3. I think 2 or I can't remember. But we hadn't been down. So to be down at home in the regional final is different than being down on the road versus the defending state champ. Had we had to go to Mainland and we were down that first quarter, we might not be able to recover.
Right.
Not because we weren't capable of it, but you have to go through some things. You've got to experience some stuff, and we hadn't experienced being on the road in that type of environment.
Right.
So we still should have won. Lots of things happened, that year. Just won that year. Then I told the coaches again. I was like, we're going to be in the regional final, and we should make it a Final Four. And I do wholeheartedly believe last year, and I think a lot of people do believe this. We played very well without Shamaya. Gainesville, when we lost, they didn't have an inside presence. They had a lot more experienced guards. It was a new team last year. Some of our guards hadn't experienced what some of our players experienced a year ago in that final loss to Mainland. So we were still right there. So I knew where we were going to be, and this is where I think people don't understand. Like when you see our staff, like how close we are and things that we say. And it's just me being very transparent and real with you, because you just said something, did you know? And after losing that game last year, it's like, did we miss the window? You have to have those conversations, and Dominique was like, nah, we're good. We didn't miss it. We knew that nobody, and what I knew in our region is there wasn't much post presence. And you watch the games. It wasn't, nobody in our region really had any post presence. Lots of guards, and I knew that our guards were going to continue to excel and get better. And each game, especially in the playoffs, our guards just stepped up.
Right.
And who led us to a win? Our guards.
Absolutely.
The guard play was the separator. So for the last 3 years, I'll be honest with you, I knew that if we did what we had to do, and Coach Williams used to say always, we got to stay healthy. And that's something you can't control. You can't control a player going down. We couldn't control Shamai getting hurt last year. Definitely couldn't control it this year either in the state championship game. But when you have a group of kids that are really bought in and play for each other, those things it's easy to coach. Like I don't think anybody felt Friday like we weren't going to win.
Right.
We knew from the beginning. But to answer your question, like we knew what we had, and if we stayed healthy and locked in, then we would be playing for a state championship, and that's what happened.
And you talk about teams go through things. You're young. A lot of your guard play is young.
Yeah.
Sophomores, which has to make you very happy, I assume. Right. But so you went through some things this year, but you did that. The road to those games was at home.
Yeah.
And
so,
go ahead.
those games that we lost we lost those games. Now McGill, we played terrible. Right. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I think Carla does a great job. They're a great team. I've played McGill, Tulane out of Mobile, and Choctaw. Besides, I would say Pensacola High and Pine Forest, because they're two local teams. McGill, Tulane, and Choctaw High School are only teams I've played every single season.
Right.
Since I've been coaching.
Right.
We don't run from each other, whether one of us is having a good year or a bad year.
Right.
Those are two coaches who I know we're going to play.
Well, and you can measure yourself.
Yeah, and they've beat me. I've beat them.
Right.
You know, we talk to each other. We have a lot of, and those are probably two coaches that, two of the first to congratulate me, like on this journey, and they both have done some tremendous things. But you know, we were learning some things early on in those games. We didn't execute some things, and again, not taking anything away from those the individuals that beat us, but we were in positions to win those games, and we didn't do our job.
Right.
And so we had to learn, like, it was just, we saw like details. When you lose 2 or 3 point games, you didn't do something right.
Right.
You know, especially when you had the opportunity to win. Right. And we did. We had the opportunity to, you know, in the Niceville game and Biloxi, we got the last shots. Like, I'm sorry, not Niceville. All three. No, we did. We got the last shot in all 3 games. Niceville, Biloxi.
Shots to win.
It's shots to win.
Right.
We missed some free throws. We didn't close out on assignments. You know, we did some things that contributed to that loss.
Right.
They won, better teams those nights, but we know if we were a little bit more detail oriented, you know, we might have won those games.
Okay, so let's jump ahead then. Okay, you get in foul trouble in the first game at State. Clarity and Shemaya.
Yeah.
And so that kind of the Brooks, Thomas, Williams, Hall, Smith. I thought Corner had a great 2 games. You know, the minutes she gave you were vital. You know, Johnson had some great games in great in there as well. But that kind of was in a way them keeping the lead, and then when Clarity came back in, extending the lead was kind of like, okay, this club is not, it ain't just about, dude, there's no way anybody can watch Shemaya Francis play and I'd say she is everything.
Yeah.
But there's so much more there, and you got to utilize that. So then when she does go down in the first quarter, it's a big situation. I didn't see you guys panic. And one thing I think that was great about, maybe helped in that, was Shemaya's attitude, because she didn't leave and go to the back. She stayed there, and she was.
Yeah, and so the first game, I think something we told the girls in both games, people have asked me like, "What'd you say at halftime?" I was like, nothing that we haven't said all game. You know, and I think I told you this before we left. We're not gonna do anything different than what we've been doing that got us here. We need to clean up some things. We need to be more disciplined. You know, that was, you know, some calls I may not completely, you know, I haven't watched both games. I may have felt like, you know, maybe that wasn't that foul there, but maybe here or whatever. But, you know, when we tell the girls, especially when we get in foul trouble, you can't control that.
Right.
So and it started with me, in which I don't think I said anything to any official other than, you know, what did we do? And that's usually what I ask them, like, hey, what did we do, so that I can tell them, like, you can't do that.
Right.
So for me, when we got in foul trouble, it's something we're used to. This wasn't our first rodeo of Shemaya being in foul trouble, Jada being in foul trouble. So people had to step up, and we knew that we knew what the girls knew what they were capable of, and we just kept telling them, like, we're better than what we're doing in both games. And in that first game, I just thought, again, guard play, people really stepped up. I mean, Kaylin and Nyla, I thought, had 2 of the best performances I've seen personally in a Final Four. And I've watched basketball long enough. I played, and I thought Nyla had one of the best 2-game performances I've ever seen.
With
from
pressure
a point guard.
on.
It was not easy, you know, to play. Nyla Brooks played, I know for sure, the second game. I don't think she came out both games.
Right.
So you're talking about 32 minutes at the point guard position. in the Final Four in the state championship game on a college court, and she played phenomenal.
Lights out.
And something I've told people, I know everybody sees Shamaya, Jada, but your team is only as good as your point guard is.
100%.
And she may be silent, but she's deadly.
Right.
And she showed up in the biggest moments for us. So I was just really proud to see, and she works really hard.
Sure.
And I was really proud to see her and Kaylin have those moments.
Right.
Because they both put in the work. They both wanted to win. And, you know, it took everybody. It wasn't just them. You have Riley and Mari, whose defense was just top tier. And then you have Kiviana, who's a kid that probably, for a lot of people that haven't seen her play much, but
she had a coming out party.
Man, did she? But this is what people have to understand. Those young ladies, Nyla, I'm gonna say Mari, Riley, Kiviana, they did their roles.
Right.
They didn't do it. They didn't do anything outside of what they do. Mari hit a big shot. You know, Riley's locking up D. Kiviana's, we're having her pick up the best player the whole court. And I tell her, I say, hey, once you get a, if we get a steal, go. She lays the ball up. She hits a big jumper. She gets the biggest rebound of her career.
With 7 seconds left to go in the game, she goes up and gets that ball loose.
Just that's what you do.
Tips it to herself.
Yeah. Those are the things you do when you just are doing your role.
Right.
When you're not worried about anything else. And I think that's what really separated us, is that our girls stuck to their roles.
Right.
You know, with Shamaya going down, nobody tried to play hero ball.
Right.
I was like, this is what we do.
Right.
This is how we do it. And this is what we're going to do. And as a coach, you know, I'll be honest with you, seeing Shamaya go down, in my head, I'm like, just for about 5 seconds, I'm like, why?
Right.
You know, like, oh my gosh, not this kid who's worked so hard.
She's worked so hard.
Yeah, you want that for her. And we're not there without her.
Of course.
We're not there without her.
Of course.
And in that moment, I looked at Coach Jordan. I was like, this is what it is. You know, this isn't our first time. And I think I had to give kudos to him because though, like the first half, she was kind of off sitting on the training table. And I knew she was just very emotional. We're walking back at halftime. She was pretty emotional. And I'm talking to her, and we're like, we got it. We're good. We're good. We got you. We got you. And before we go into halftime, Coach Jordan was like, you have to remind the girls, we have done this before without Shamaya. So one of the things I went in and said at halftime, we have played without Shamaya, and we have won. We can do it again.
Right.
So you have to have.
And you're 5 down.
Yeah, you have to have those moments. You have to have great support around you. Coach Jordan, Janelle, Coach Mookie, like all of our coaches. Like, but he was just like, you got to tell the girls that. He was like, you got to tell them.
Right.
Like, we have been here before.
Right.
And so that was part of our halftime thing. It was like, hey, we've played without Shamaya. We've won. We're gonna do it again.
Right. So tell me so I'm watching on my phone, and I'm texting Tripp and Hobley and Sinclair, and when you're going into the half, I'm saying they have to speed it up. It's the opposite of what you did, right? Clarity said we knew we needed to slow it down, make sure we don't turn the ball over. Did you address spacing? Because it seemed like you created more space in the second half.
Yes and no. I mean, when Johnson and Corner are undersized posts, right? So we call her Bird and Jazz from Corner. I'm not expecting them to do what Shamaya can do, right? There was one point, a good portion of the game, Jade is our 5 player. You know,
very much. She had kind of a Magic Johnson style
and then
party on people.
her and Nyla going back and forth from guard number 14, who gave us who gave us the work in the first half. Yeah. Second half, she had 4 points.
Right.
4 points. 4 points. Thing I want. And so we didn't. Yeah. What we did was we emphasized. I knew we did not have an inside presence. Like we didn't. We didn't have the physicality. They stayed zone, which was fine. We've seen zone all year. So our big thing was pass and cut. We went our 5 out. But I tried to keep somebody a little bit between Jada and Nyla. I kind of wanted them floating in and out of that high post range. So all we were doing was really, I said it, and we watched film, and we knew Mims and the other post players, their guards were phenomenal. And Mims had an amazing game. Yeah. But we knew from watching film that if we got that matchup, which we started, getting that matchup that we wanted, if their big came out on one of our guards, get to the rim. And they couldn't stay in front of us. So now we're starting to get fouls. Right. Now we're in the bonus. Now we're shooting free throws. So in the third quarter, we got back in the game because we just started attacking, but at our pace. You know, we knew I think they averaged close to some game. I know they were well over 70-something points a game sometimes. Right. And I knew that if we kept it below, in the 40s to 50s, we would win.
Right.
And our game is not run up and down. We're not look at our scores. We're averaging about 50 a game. We're not we don't press you, we'll do this, but we're not that's not us. That's what they like to do. And then I think eventually what we were doing was putting some pressure on their best player. And I think eventually it started to wear down a little bit. But offensively, I was just really telling the girls, hey, you got to get to the rim. Like, let's not settle for the threes. If the shots come, of course, take it. But get to the rim. You got to go off too. And I thought something I told Nyla in the first half, she was really doing a good job, actually, of getting to the rim, but she was kind of throwing it up. I was like, you're not going to get a foul call if you're throwing it up. I said, you've got to get there, go off of 2, and get some contact. And then next thing you know, she started getting the calls. You know, she started being a little bit more physical. So it was just little adjustments. But I told her, I was like, I just felt like we were the better team.
Right.
That's why I told them at half. I felt like they're playing. It's a game of runs. But I just feel like we're the better team. We're the more disciplined team. And Blanche Ely is awesome, well coached, great team. You know, they're the #1 team for a reason. And I just thought we wanted it more, honestly.
Right.
I thought we wanted it more.
It was clear because I think you had 5 offensive rebounds down the stretch, like after 2:30 in the game. Like there's 2:30 left to go, and I think you still got 5 more offensive rebounds. And some of those were just the balls there for somebody to run get, and you were faster to the ball.
Yeah, I thought we were, man, shout out to my guy Lorenzo out at Fit. He's our strength and conditioning guy. And, you know, we did some recovery stuff too.
Yeah.
Like in between our games. We did stretching before each game in the hotel. So I think there were some things that we've done throughout the season, in my opinion, that didn't make us look fatigued.
Right.
You know, in that fourth quarter, I felt like we looked like we were ready for that moment. Right. And when we called, I believe, I don't know how many we were down when I called that last time out, about 3-something ago, but it is very similar to what we do in practice. The day before a game, if we play on a Friday, every Thursday, there's certain things that we do the day before a game. We're going to always do it. The day before every game, we in practice what we call 3 minutes, 3 stops. We literally did that. So when I called that timeout, I was like, we got to have 3 stops. And we got to score. We do this every single practice, every practice before game. We've done it. We're going to do it, but we've got to get 3 stops.
Right.
And we did it. And when we practiced it, but we were only able to do it because we've done it, the reps, the repetition.
Right.
We were doing it, putting ourselves in those situations, and we had to get those stops. But also, the girls were locked in. I mean, you I don't know if you could see it on the film or you know, watching the game, but those 3 losses we had, all of them didn't believe we were going to win some of those games, you know, because we were able to drop some things. And I told them, I said, I'm looking at y'all in those 3 losses. Y'all didn't all believe that we could win. You weren't all locked in. But when I called that timeout with 3 minutes ago, everybody, you could see it. We got you, Coach Brown. Like everybody.
Because you're down with 2:30, you're down 3. With under 2 minutes, you're down 3 still.
And they just, it was in their eyes. Like it was never a sense of doubt. And you can't have that when you're in those moments. And they wanted it. It had nothing to do with me. They wanted it, man. They wanted it.
Did Hall, because the announcer when Hall dives, 35 seconds-ish left, did she dive, get the ball, and call timeout? Or did that ball get to the out? No, for you.
I think my last time out was 30 seconds. I mean, it was 3 minutes.
So that ball rolled to the baseline.
It must have. Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know what happened right there.
I have not rewatched the game yet.
Okay. Yeah. But that was it was so the bounce pass that Brooks throws late. I think you take the lead for
Jada cutting to the basket.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That bounce pass was so nice.
Yeah.
She's dribbling. There's 2 people here. Okay, tell me this. The practice I was at Monday, that's what you were going over with the guys you were playing against, and you were getting to the free throw line, and it was you shouldn't have all the answers to the exam before you take the exam.
Yeah.
It felt like you were going over things, and then when I watched you down the stretch, it felt like all that was coming to fruition.
That's how it's supposed to be. It don't always work that way.
Right.
But I mean, we're intentional in our practice plan.
Yeah.
Like I don't, the girls, I have a practice plan every practice, Kevin.
Right.
Like from the minute that we start to the minute that we finish.
Right.
Like, and we try to, of course, sometimes you go over here and there are different things. You might put a little bit more emphasis on something, but whatever you emphasize in practice is what is eventually going to become that habit for you. So a lot of special situations, a lot of things. I do want to say this as people are watching. We had some young guys, some of our boys basketball players who came and practiced with us. And I was just telling Coach Jordan, like, that was a big reason we did well. I mean, there were some of our freshman boys that came in, Caden Ware and Shemaya's brother, Dwayne Francis, two of our varsity boys, after their season was finished, they practiced with us every single day.
Right.
And O'Neal, Cash, I'm forgetting some of my guys right now. I'm sorry, guys, if y'all watching this, but they know who they are.
Right.
And those young men, they were critical in our run in the playoffs, being able to practice against them.
Ely's physical.
Oh, yeah.
Was that part of the thought process?
Oh,
with
yeah,
the
that's
guys?
why. Oh, yeah. And you were in there, like, we had them, and we practiced, and we would tell the guys, because sometimes the guys wouldn't be as physical as I really need them to be. I was like, I don't care. You're not finna hurt them. I know you're not gonna try to hurt them.
Yeah.
But I need you, and I need you to be physical. I want you to block. And one practice, like I would say, one of our practices where we practiced out at UWF one day, it wasn't a great practice. It was our first one out there, and the boys were just eating us up. Yeah. And I was like, this is how it's gonna be. Mm-hmm. But those girls are not better than these boys.
Right.
So if you can at least hold your own against these guys, we're gonna be fine. Mm-hmm. But we weren't giving them any calls, blocking shots. I wanted them talking trash. They were pushing them. Yeah. So I mean, if you're getting pushed by an 18-year-old, 16-year-old boy, when a girl your age pushes you, you're like, that's easy, you know. So I
and they were at least a little bit. They were physically mature girls. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. So there was the contact, but it didn't deter you at all.
No, not at all.
Because you had been there with the practices. Another thing I think was interesting is, okay, so in a practice scenario, the 5 guys playing defense in the zones, they kind of know you're not going to shoot a 3. So it's tougher to get to that free throw line. Mm-hmm. Whereas in the game, you saw, Brooks could take one dribble backwards, and all of a sudden the free throw line opens up for somebody to run into.
And that's what that's what we were emphasizing. What we call, that's like I said, we started going some of our 5-out passing cutting. And we knew that if Shemaya had been in, our game plan was to hit our high post. Jada, we wanted that, got in foul trouble in that first half. It was really challenging to get anything into the high post in the first half when you got your most athletic player, Jada Clarity, out. Like I said, Jasmine Corner and Samaya Johnson, they're undersized posts. Right. They're more of a down low presence, rebounding, finishing. So in that first half, we were just able to kind of stick around, which I was glad we were able to hold our own. We did some things defensively. Offensively, we were struggling. We didn't have a lot of weapons out there. Right. But we made some adjustments. And like I said, in the second half, it was, hey, guys, don't wait on the trap. And that was some things we were doing too. We were in the first half, some of us we were waiting. We knew that they trap out of a 2-3. We knew they trap. And we would sit there and wait. What are you waiting on? Attack their hip. Mm-hmm. As soon as we attack their hip, they're moving. We're able to get some passes, some finishes. So it was just cleaning up some things. But again, Blanche Ely they were good.
They're real good.
Real good team,
and Mims was good too, but Clarity did a really good job of making her work for the shots. Yeah. And you see a lot of times when a really great player has to kind of dominate a game. Yep. If they're working and they're working and they're working later in the game, that ball's hitting the front of the rim and not, that.
And she probably had one of the best games of her life probably that night.
She
like
was fantastic.
She was amazing, and we
that
started.
That's good too, though, right?
Yeah.
To beat somebody when they play well.
Oh yeah. And some things we did with her, even, you got Jade on her in one of our timeouts. We kept saying the entire time, and we knew she had the spin move. I'm like, guys, we told y'all this. We showed you this. She'll spin. And then I told Nala, I was like, hey, you have somebody you can dig off of. And this is another thing, you couldn't really double her because all their players could shoot. That's a fact.
Correct.
I can tell you right now from watching film. You saw some of the shots that they took. Theirs were on the college 3. So their players, a lot of their players are 3-level scorers. So you can't double on ball side if number 1 is sitting over here and she's the best 3-point shooter. Mm-hmm. So something we had Nyla on somebody on the other post at that time, like, hey, if she spins, go tip it, and Nala gets a huge steal.
She did.
Huge steal, one of those game momentum steals where she turned her back, boom, I think she hits Kiviano, we score. So it's just, it was a lot of chess being played and knowing who you're guarding.
That's
it's
that guard
easy.
line.
Yeah, well, it's easy to say, Mims was having a great game, doubler. Yeah, that's easy to say, but everybody else don't know who else is on the floor. Everybody else hasn't seen films. You know what I mean? Like
100%.
we know who can do what. And all of their guards were 3-level scorers.
Right.
And so you have to pick your poison.
Correct.
And for me personally, like, we're close at the rim. We knew we could do. We held our own. And, I mean, I was just excited for it, girls.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so we're going to take a quick break, and we'll come back, and we're going to talk about the community, and we're going to talk about being comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And that'll wrap it up, okay?
Yes, sir.
All right, good deal. Welcome back, folks. I am here with Jade Brown, state championship coach. That's so great. Okay, and thank you, Faust Builders. Thank you, McCoy Homes, and thank you, Sideline Sports Bar, for letting me chase knowledge wherever I can find it. When I was at that practice, who was it that came over and gave you the big check?
Oh, Golden Elite. Mike Etheridge, Golden Elite. It's one of the local track clubs here, and he and his wife, and the entire Golden Elite, they are huge community supporters of not just us. They've done it for a lot of teams that make the playoffs.
Right.
So shout out to Golden Elite being a community supporter for not just track athletes, but all the community.
Right. Even, I mean, obviously it's great you won, but outside of that, a lot of people made it to Jacksonville.
Yeah.
Work got to be there. Did they wind up taking a bus over there?
So, I know I'm shouting out a couple people because I have to, and I'm going to forget people. But
go ahead.
Do Work, thank you for what you have done and what you're continuing to do. They followed us the whole weekend there. You know, Dante and James, I appreciate you guys. Y'all know y'all have a special place in my heart. You're always welcome at Booker T for anything you need. But we had a spirit bus. Well, let's go first Wednesday. You know, Wednesday was a lot of people too. Wednesday,
absolutely.
I feel like personally, both games we had more people than other teams. You know, Wednesday, lots of family members were there, a lot of alumni that live in the area, and I think those things play a role.
Absolutely.
And one thing I text the parents, because, you know, a lot of times when we're at home, you know, you have a parent that probably always sits here and parent sits there. I told Coach Mookie, our assistant coach, I said, text the parents, one of them, and say, we need everybody sitting behind the bench together.
Right.
And so everybody from Pensacola or who was rooting for Booker T Wednesday, we took up those two areas. And then Friday, oh man, P-Cola showed up, man.
Yeah.
They showed up. We had a student spirit bus. They were excited. All of our administration was there. Mr. Shackle, Miss Forney had been there all week with us.
Right.
Miss McGowan, Dean Shalane. We had a lot of teachers that came on that bus as well. You know, lots of community members. Mr. Bennett, Ellison Bennett, who's a huge supporter of the Wildcats. Right. Pastor Marshall, St. John Divine, Pastor Wesley, Great Little Rock. I mean, it was just so many people there. Not all Wildcats, but just people from Pensacola rooting for us. And I know, like, Friday, we had that whole, they were outnumbered, and those things play a role. So I'm just, if you're watching this and you see this, P-Cola, thank you for the love. I mean, we felt it, we needed it. And those are type of things, I mean, like, those are separators. Like, and you know this as a sports guy, like, there are certain places people don't want to play because of the fans, you know. I mean, it's called Death Valley at night for a reason at LSU.
Correct.
You know,
yeah,
there's places, you know, they're called the Cameron Crazies for a reason at Duke, and those things are X factors. So people may not realize it, but when you look behind you and I'm able to put my hands up and people are yelling defense and the girls feel it, I mean, those are things that helped us to become the champs. We wouldn't have done it without the support from the community at all. You
mentioned parents. Now, you did say you had a post this week about a parent meeting.
Yeah.
And buy-in can't be your coaching staff and the 12 people.
No.
Everybody's got to be on time.
Yeah. That meeting was a turning point in our season. And sports is changing, you know. We as individuals are changing, the world's evolving, and as it should, you know, nothing stays the same. And sometimes people get frustrated about change, but change is good. Yeah. It's not always a bad thing, and change allows us to grow. Would I have done that 10 years ago? Well, that's funny you said that. In 2016, when I won my first district title, I didn't call a parent meeting.
Right.
You know, that was my first one, you know, we're our first round of playoffs, different things. You know, that was my first group. So 10 years ago, in 2016, I won my first district title. What the group that I started with. So that was my 4th year in. Didn't have it, didn't feel the need to have one. As you said earlier, did I know that this team could do it? Yes. And as you begin to start to look as a coach, you stay tunnel vision, you stay looking what's in front of you, but I also have to look at a few things ahead to understand where we can be. And what I mean by that, I have to look at the rankings and see, like, okay, for different reasons, like travel purposes. We stay in that top 4, we know we're not traveling, at least the first 2 rounds for sure. You know what I mean? So you have to look at logistics. You don't want to wait till Friday or Sunday when the region ranking comes out for the playoffs and you're trying to figure out how you're going to travel, all this and that. So in that meeting with the parents, myself, the coaches, we just had some coffee and some donuts. We allowed them to talk, kind of introduce each other, what school they went to, different things, and I kind of just laid it out like, which I told the girls, this is the exact terminology I use. The path to Jacksonville is clear.
Right.
We just got to follow the GPS.
Perfect.
That's it.
I
told them that. I said, it is extremely clear. It's going to take you all and us to help keep them focused and get them to understand we can't take detours. We can't. It's clear. We just got to listen to the GPS. Right. If we listen to the GPS, we're going to be in Jacksonville March 11th through the 13th. Right. And that's what I told the parents. I said, this is what it's going to be. Right. If we do what we need to do, we had discussions about things. We talked about, distractions, different things. It was a really, really good conversation with the parents. Probably one thing I've enjoyed this year is just allowing them to, in my opinion, I felt like it made them feel like they were part of the team.
100%.
And so the parents, I asked them, and this is something we've done for a long time in my program. We detach from social media. We get off of it. We're done with it. So it usually started a lot earlier this year. It was a struggle for some people. It wasn't as easy as people think it is. Right. But I asked the parents because in my head I know how attached they are to social media. And when we first started doing that a couple years ago, players weren't as attached. So I didn't feel like, and I asked the parents, I was like, and every parent was like, no social media. Right. I was like, all right, if y'all feel that way, they was like, you can tell them we said it. So, we met that Saturday, come back in that Monday, no social media. They weren't happy about it. Right. And you can see I wasn't on mine either. I only posted it after district championship. I was only on our school pages, and I did it with them. So I let them know, like, we can do this. But, those are the things that separates programs. Right. Those are the things that separates the culture of the programs. Yeah, it's not just, it's Booker T. Washington girls basketball program. It's not Jade Brown's program. It's not, Shamaya Francis. It is Booker T. Washington girls basketball programs. Right. And it takes everybody. It takes every piece of the puzzle because your kid doesn't get to practice without mom dropping you off. Right. So the moms, the dads, aunts, uncles, grandparents, they were making just as many sacrifices as the girls. Right. When we had early workouts or we had to go lift at Fit on Saturday after a game in the morning, they were a part of it. And I meant everything in that post, like, we are not champions without the parents. And the parents were extremely locked in, just as excited, had our back. I think we have some phenomenal parents, but I think that's why we have some phenomenal girls because their parents are just A1 people. They're a blessing to be around.
And I think too, as we're wrapping this, I think too you can see there didn't feel like part of the GPS thing, right? I think you're saying is no personal agendas. Yeah. But you could feel growth in each individual as the unit pushed forward.
Yes, most definitely. And then to me, we could just use the word that people don't probably want to say. There was no selfishness in this group. Right. There was none whatsoever. It was, and we say this, we before me. Like we say that, we before me. And that's how it was. They wanted, when Shamaya went down, they wanted to win for Shamaya. They wanted to win for each other. They wanted her to know, like, hey, we got you. We're going to do this. And so for me, it's of course, the course of a season is a marathon. And one thing we talked about as a team, it's a roller coaster though. Sure. There's ups and downs, and our job is to stay on the roller coaster. Right. Don't get off. Right. Don't get off. I don't care how scared you get, how how high it is, and woo, that feels good, you know. Then you go back, like, stay on the roller coaster.
Right.
Because we're going to have moments of highs and lows. You're going to have that in the game. And as long as we stayed on that roller coaster, we knew that we would be able to get off where we wanted to get off.
Right.
And that's what we had to do. We had to just stay on it. But their parents were critical in that. So I'm thankful that, you know, they were able to experience this as well. Because not a lot of people get to experience that.
Right.
And they were, if not happy, just as happy. I think some of them thought they were probably about to play. But we got some good parents, man.
Yeah,
really
absolutely.
We got some really good parents.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. I appreciate you, man. Like I said, the community support has been overwhelming. And, you know, you
much deserved.
Yeah, but, you know, God is so good. That's another thing I tell people when we pray a lot. I pray a lot. My mom, our families, and you do things the right way. People, you get rewarded, and I'm just happy that these young ladies get to see the fruits of their labor. They've worked very hard, and they deserve everything that's coming to them.
Wonderful.
Appreciate it.
Folks, Jade Brown, coach, state champion, Lady Wildcats, Booker T. It's who we be, right?
Yes, sir, Booker T.
All right, thank you very much for watching. Thank you, Faust Builders, McCory Home, Sideline Sports Bar, for giving me this opportunity to chase knowledge wherever I can find it. Today I got to find it with you. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Bye.